So the RNC wrapped up this Thursday with it went out with quite a bang. We're not gonna really cover it, like cover everything that happened. We have like two speeches I want to talk about. We obviously have President Trump's speech, and we also have the immortal Hulk Hogan's speech right here. We are definitely going to cover. We honestly might cover this one more than we'll probably cover the Trump one, because this one is hilarious. The Trump one just goes on forever and ever. I honestly do not care all that much for covering it. It is long as fuck. It gets really boring. It's just the same shit over and over again. You know, they're sending the worst. They're all coming from mental institutions. I'm the best. Just lies after lies after lies, and I do not care to cover all of them. But we definitely are going to cover this Hulk Hogan speech because it is something else. Now, me personally, I am a wrestling fan through and through. I have never been a fan of Hulk Hogan. I have not. I'm not gonna try to, wrestling fan nerd out during this. I just want to kind of poke fun at this a bit. But I might talk about some pro wrestling here and there because there's definitely something funny about Hulk Hogan endorsing Donald Trump because it is essentially two massive liars just working together.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Starting strong, by the way. Let me tell you something, brother.
You know something? When I came here tonight, there was so much energy in this room. I felt maybe I was in Madison Square Garden getting ready to win another world title. Or maybe I thought the vibe was so intense.
And not even just two liars, two egomaniacs, just massive egos.
The energy was so crazy, it felt like maybe I was gonna press that no-good stinky giant over my head and slam him through the mat, brother. But what I found out was I was in a room full of real Americans, brother. And at the end of the day, with our leader up there, my hero, that gladiator, we're gonna bring America back together.
This is the happiest he has looked during this entire convention. I'm pretty sure this is the same day his son also kind of gave a speech at the RNC, and apparently he fell asleep, which is hilarious. He's also apparently the one who really pushed for JD Vance to be Trump's VP, which is probably the worst thing that Trump could have ever done, which was listen to his son. I don't think JD Vance is really that much of a great pick when it comes to being Trump's VP pick, but I wouldn't suspect any less from John Jr. He is just a complete fucking idiot. But yeah, apparently he fell asleep during his speech. But with this one, he's ear to ear smiling. We'll get to how happy Trump is with Hulk being up there soon.
One real American at a time, brother.
Also, two men with unbelievable shitty tans and shitty blonde hair.
You know something? I've seen some great tag teams in my time. Hulk Hogan and ooh yeah, the Macho Man Randy Savage.
How dare you, sir?
But you know something?
Leave Randy Savage out of this.
I see the greatest tag team of my life standing upon us, getting ready to straighten this country out for all the real.
I would just like to see the faces of some, Republican senators, Republican donors just in that room being like, why the fuck is this pro wrestler who has not been relevant in 2 or 3 decades? Why is he up on this stage right now?
Real Americans.
What is he talking about? Tag teams? What the fuck?
Even though you guys are real Americans, you better get ready. Because when Donald J. Trump becomes the president of the United States, all the real Americans are going to be nicknamed Trumpites. Because
God.
all the
Trumpites. It's just so fucking dumb.
Trumpites are going to be running wild for 4 years.
There's only one way that he possibly got this gig, and it was because of Trump. Trump's just loving this. I could not imagine being someone in the crowd who just doesn't know was not a fan of pro wrestling, or isn't a fan of pro wrestling, just being like, What the fuck is this guy talking about?
So with a
Like, I get his little references because I'm a wrestling fan. Like, him calling them real Americans is in reference to his theme song. Calling them Trumpites is, a callback to the fact that, like, he calls his fans the Hulkamaniacs. It's just so fucking dumb. It just really shows how cringy pro wrestling can be when you take it out of, like, its sphere of influence. It's because you don't really, I don't know. Let's just continue. This
of
just
Donald
so
J.
bad.
Trump and all the Trumpites running wild, America is going to get back on track. And like Donald J. Trump said, America is going to be great again. You know, when I look out and I see all the real Americans, I think about how Donald Trump, his family was compromised. When I look out there and I see Donald Trump, I think about how his business was compromised.
Because he was a bad businessman? Like, what are you talking about? This guy went bankrupt multiple times.
But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero?
Oh no, he's
And
talking
they
up.
tried to kill
He's talking up.
the next president of the United States.
They're loving it
Enough
though.
was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother.
It is kind of funny that he rips off his shirt with the American flag on it just to show this. Let's just continue forward.
They've thrown everything at Donald Trump. All the investigations, the impeachments, the court cases, and he's still standing and kicking their butts.
Yeah, because power. That's the thing. Once you have enough power, you can essentially just do anything and not really face the consequences of it. And even then, he still, he was still found guilty on that hush money case. But it's because he doesn't really hold that much power. But he's still, a wealthy guy, so he can still get away with that stuff. And also, our system is not great when it comes to holding people of power accountable. We really don't do much with them.
We never had it better than the Trump years. Back then, we had a thriving economy. We had strong borders. We had safe streets. We had peace and respect around the world. But then we lost it all in a blink of an eye. Crime is out of control. The border is out of control. The price of food and gas and housing is out of control.
We had a pandemic. Oh, wait, that was under him.
And the only person who can clean this up is Donald Trump.
Like, all that shit is lies, also. I mean, I don't really need to say about that. Anything Hulk Hogan says is basically a lie. That's what you should really take out of this.
Guys, I really, really love this country. And I've lived the American dream. And I want my kids, your kids, and all those little teeny Hulkamaniacs out there to live the American dream too. So all you criminals, all you lowlifes, all you scumbags, all you drug dealers, and all you crooked politicians need to answer one question, brother. What you gonna do when Donald Trump and all the Trumpomaniacs run wild on you, brother?
He really thought he nailed that. He thought that was gold. And that wasn't even, oh my god, they cut out the best moment. Here we see, he almost starts tearing up. You can see it on his face. And then he blows a kiss at him. That is golden. Look at this. Let's play it one more time. That's true love right there. This is true love. Look at him. He has never even kissed Melania that much. He has not even kissed Melania with that powerful of a kiss. That was true love right there. They were making out after that speech. Once Donald Trump finished his speech afterwards, they were smooching. They were smooching in the closet for sure. And then Dana White introduced Trump. We're not gonna watch that because who gives a fuck? Apparently the dude was on vacation with his wife, and they literally called him to be the one to introduce Trump at the RNC for like 10 minutes. He only really did his job for like 10 or so minutes, and then just to introduce this guy to not be on vacation with his wife. But it was probably a good thing for her because she wanted to take some time not getting beaten by him.
I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together, we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed.
That, yeah, that's definitely, the champion of people of color and different religions. When I think of the person who is going to fight for the rights of those people, I think of Donald Trump, the guy behind the Muslim ban, the guy that basically sent the National Guard after BLM protesters. That's the guy I think of.
We must heal it quickly. As
The man who called the Charlottesville protesters wonderful people.
Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America.
I guess this was like the unifying part of his speech that they were talking about, like apparently he changed his speech to be more unifying after the assassination attempt. I think this might be literally the only part of it, because I have watched the rest of this debate in my free time. That's why we're only really going to cover a part of it. The rest of it does not sound like a unifying speech at all. But it's just fucking wild. Also, before we really get into this, obviously now we know that Biden is not going to be the nominee for the Democratic Party going into this presidential race. Maybe it's going to be Kamala Harris. And I think a big thing that the Democrats need to be looking at when they consider who's going to be the nominee is, who do you think Trump is going to have a harder time going after? Because something that Trump can do very well is attack his opponents, whether it is Republicans who were, trying to get the presidential seat, or the Republican nominee, whether it is people on the left. I think Kamala might be a harder person for him to really nail down without going incredibly racist, which might throw off a lot of people in the middle who don't want to seem like racist, so they would probably rather side with Kamala than go with Trump if he decides to go that route. Also, apparently the only thing he's been really able to go after her for was her laughing, and she doesn't even have like that terrible of a laugh. And this is coming from someone who has family members who have terrible laughs. Like, you know those laughs where they're like, you're just kind of like, it wasn't that funny. I don't know why you're, like bending over, holding your stomach, laughing. Like, those type of obnoxious laughs. It's nothing like that. She just has like a normal laugh. Like, that's really the only thing I've been able to see him really go after her for. But it also could be the fact that, he's not really considering her in terms of the next nominee, but we'll see. I think she would be someone who's definitely harder for him to go after. I think with Newsom, he could always just point to California and be like, look how bad California is, or some shit like that.
Thank you.
Hold on, let's go back to that guy for a second. There was a guy sobbing. Look at him. Oh my god, this guy is... You can just look at the guy next to him. He's looking at this guy like, what the fuck? Like, you're getting this emotional about it?
Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened. And
we all kind of saw what happened. It was it was streaming live. We all kind of saw what happened.
Time because it's actually too painful to tell.
But I'm going to tell you anyways.
Beautiful day in the early evening. in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Also,
Music.
apparently, this ear bandage that he's wearing, seemingly there have been people on the right who literally wore this during the RNC, which is so insane. And it wasn't like people trolling or whatever. I honestly think people were wearing that in sincerity.
Was loudly playing, and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage, and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily, because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was...
Do you think at this moment he probably had some PTSD flashbacks? Like anytime he turns to the right now, he's just like, huh!
When I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right
like
ear.
They caught it on camera.
I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet, and moved my right hand
Maybe it was a very fast mosquito.
to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place.
Well, he does have tiny hands, so that is something that he'll mention later. He was like, oh, there was so much blood. I mean, who knows what it looked like when he got into that car, but like, it didn't look like that much blood. It looked like a regular amount of blood you would probably see coming out of someone's ear if they just got shot.
I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage. These are great people, at great risk, I will tell you, and pounced on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I felt that.
The firefighter, though, definitely did not. I mean, I talked about this, like a couple of days ago when it came to the shooting itself. It's really wild how some people on the right have spun this. They're just like, he's protected by God. He's been chosen by God. Okay, God is looking after him. He curved the bullet so it would protect Trump. What about the guy who got shot? Who died? What about that guy? The guy who is apparently extremely racist too, but at the same time, died from a bullet that was meant for him. What about that guy? Was he protected by God?
And
yeah, God told me to move my head. He didn't tell me that a bullet was coming, but he told me to move my head so I could point at a monitor of how Mexicans are rapists.
And we had many bullets that were being fired. Crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not...
I mean, not the people behind you. They just kind of sat down. Like, that was the most wild part about it, is that there were shots that ringed out. And some people were just kind of like, well, I guess I'll just take my seat then. It seems like, this is kind of dying down. Maybe I'll head out the back in a bit, but I'm just gonna sit down for right now.
They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body.
I feel like your heart would probably bleed more, where a lot of blood goes. Like, again, we saw the aftermath of him getting, shot. It wasn't that bloody. It really wasn't. Like, it was probably the same amount of blood you would probably get from, a piercing. Which I would know. I tried to pierce my own ears once and it did not go well, but...
Over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose, surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking at...
As I looked out, he wasn't looking out. He was trying to find his shoes when he got up. That was something that was actually caught on mic, was him trying to look for his shoes. And when they brought him up, he was like, where's my shoes? Give me my shoes.
They thought it was over, but I could see it. I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight!"
After I got my shoes.
into the air. You've all
Outside
seen
of like the Secret Service agent, just like, I don't know, just giving like, he is wearing glasses, but it just kind of feels like he's giving a very blank stare down the camera.
The crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like it. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey, comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me. Unbelievable. And seriously wounded.
Yeah, you know, he brings them up now, but he couldn't be bothered to, you know, visit his family members the day after, because apparently he went out golfing the day after.
Other great warriors, spoke to them today. David Dutch and James Copenhaver, two great people. I also spoke to all three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them, and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters, and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody.
I don't know. When I heard that, I thought it was like extremely weird thing to say. It was just like, yes, we had to use the past tense now for Corey because he's dead. Remember, he's dead. He died. Like, I don't understand why you brought that up, being like, well, with Corey, we had to use the past tense. Yeah, they brought out a, I don't think this is his actual fireman's jacket, and we'll find that out later when we get a closer look at it. But this, I don't know, it might be, I'll get into it once we really get a good look at it. Yeah. Okay. He kisses it. Not only does he kiss it, but I believe they got his name wrong. I don't know if we see a closer look at it. False claim, misspelling shows jacket. Okay, okay, it seems to have just been a, oh no! They forgot the A. They forgot the A in between the R and T. They didn't even spell his name right, and that could just be the fault of the fire department itself. I don't know. Apparently there was more. Includes a, okay, a July 18 threads post includes a picture of former President Donald Trump on the Republican National Convention next to the fireman's jacket with comparator. The fireman gear is picked and misspelled his name. Apparently this is false. They confirmed it was just kind of, you know, it was more their fault than the RNC's fault. And apparently he didn't really care enough to fix the misspelling. Okay, I saw some claims that was the case. But I did, honestly, when I saw that the first time, I was just like, okay, that could just be on the fire departments. I don't really think that was intentional. Well, obviously, I don't think it would have been intentional by the RNC either. Like, if they messed it up, then it was a goof, and it was a terrible look on them. But if it was just, like, it was something that belonged there beforehand, like, yeah, I definitely could see that being the case, you know? But just the fact that he kisses it, the fact that he just gives it a big old smooch on the, it has that same energy of when he fucking hugged the American flag that one time. That's as much as I feel like anyone could probably sit through, because the rest of it is him just kind of yapping about his usual like fake shit. It's just a lot to go through, and I don't really feel like sitting through all of it today. But yeah, that was the last day of the RNC. Just a complete shit show.